everyone. Welcome to another Women of WoMENAIT Technology event hosted by New York City team, and happy International Women in Engineering Day. My name is Anahita Modiri Asari. I've got my PhD in civil engineering, and I work at WSP USA, which is a civil engineering design and consulting company. As technology becomes more integrated in our society and creates a new paradigm, it's really up to us to be intentional about equity, inclusion, and diverse representation in this space. So this is the reason we are here. Our community is more than 15,000. It has more than 50,000 members, and we have city teams in more than 18 different cities around the world. We have different programs like the mentorship program, annual conference, and career fairs. And you can learn more about them by checking our website, womenofwomanaitechnology.com, which we are going to share it in the chat box. Actually, we are going to have our 5th annual conference on September 22nd and 3rd with the theme of The Future is WoMENA. In the past years, we had more than 15,000 attendees, and it was a virtual event with the speakers from all around the world, and we had careers and exhibit halls. We partnered with more than 15 organizations. We would like to double up this number this year, and this year it's going to be a hybrid event. So in case you're interested, please register for that, and we are going to share the registration link right now in the chat box. Also, if you're interested in a sponsorship and partnership opportunities for the conference, please email events@womenofwomanaitechnology.com. We are also looking for new team members for our NYC team. So if you're in New York, if you live here and you're interested, please send us your resume and your LinkedIn profile to our email, nyc@womenofwomanaitechnology.com. Of course, I'm not alone in this team, and all the event that you see today is with the help of my teammate, Saman. So at this point, I would like to invite Saman to please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Saman Saberi. It's been around 6 months that I'm volunteering with the Women of WoMENAIT Technology NYC. And so a little background about myself. I have a bachelor's in computer engineering, and it's been 2 years that I'm a software engineer at Google. And yeah.
Thank you, Sana. So as you all know by now, today is the International Women in Engineering Day. This day was launched for the first time in the UK in 2014 by the Women's Engineering Society to celebrate its 95th anniversary. In 2017, this day became international for the first time. So this is really an international awareness day to raise the profile of women in engineering. It celebrates the outstanding achievements of women engineers throughout the world. The goal of the day is to make sure that the future engineering landscape has an equal number of people from different genders and cultures working in STEM roles, so that they can bring different perspectives and experiences to the table. So it's really interesting to give you some of these statistics. So since 1982, women have earned almost 10 million more college degrees than men, but only 15% of engineers are women. Celebrating women's achievements in a man-dominated field reminds all of us how rewarding our work is. So eventually, we see that more and more women have entered engineering disciplines as they have been inspired by the women who were pioneers in the engineering field. So that's why that for today, we have invited one of the most successful Iranian ladies, Sue Bayat. She has established her own company in New York City to talk about the steps to become an entrepreneur. But before inviting her to the stage, I would like to invite our amazing moderator, Tina Nazarian, the content strategist at Forbes Councils, to come to the stage. Thank you to both of you for accepting our invitation. We will right now leave the backstage so you can continue your conversation. And then At 7:15, we all go to the post-event networking so we can talk with the audience as well. Thank you again.
A big thank you to our hosts for that lovely introduction, and thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Tina Nazarian. I am a content strategist at Forbes Councils, where I write about a variety of topics, including business, technology, human resources, and leadership. And I'm excited to be moderating today's panel. Joining me today is Sue Bayat. Sue is an environmental engineer and the founder and president of Entech Engineering PC, a multidisciplinary consulting engineering firm based out of New York City. Her firm provides engineering, environmental, and construction management services for transportation and infrastructure projects. Sue graduated with a master's degree from the National Institute of Applied Sciences in France and a bachelor's degree from Tehran University. Sue, you've had quite the storied career. Can you start off by telling us about your company and the projects and type of work you do?
Thank you, Tina, for your introduction. And hi, everyone. I'd like to thank New York team of WoMENAIT in Technology for arranging this event and providing opportunity for networking. So back to your question, the name of my company is Entech Engineering PC, for short Entech. You may want to know what PC stands for. It stands for Professional Corporation. For a company to be able to practice engineering in New York State, all owners should be registered professional engineers, and I am a professional engineer. So regarding the work that we do, we get involved mostly with infrastructure projects in New York City. That's really the main line of service that we do. We have worked on airport, bridges, tunnels, highway, subway, roadway parks, water and wastewater related facilities, landfill and waste related facilities, and all type of utilities, gas, water main, sewer line, communication line, and etc. Really, it's everything that a city needs to provide for its communities to comfortably live and work in their city. Most of the project that we work on is funded by government agencies, and these are main agencies are New York City, City of New York, State of New York, and Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, who manages like the airports and bus terminals and things like that. Our services on these projects includes engineering design, construction management and oversight, and technology support. I like to mention some of important projects that we have been involved with. We are very active on airport projects, New York City airport redevelopment projects, including we have worked on LaGuardia, Newark, and JFK. Our services have been assisting with the design, performing construction management, and using digital technology to improve the efficiency and quality of the project. We have worked on a lot of bridge projects, major bridge project in New York City. And just to name it, Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, George Washington, Verrazano, Queensboro, Willis Avenue, and more. So there are federal regulation that requires all waterways be accessible through vessels. Therefore, some New York City bridges have to be movable, permitting vessels to pass under when needed. NTIC has some engineers who have this specialty, and we have had the opportunity to work on several movable bridge projects. I can talk several hours about our project because I'm so proud of everything that we do. However, I think you have an idea, so I stop here.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your company's values and the makeup of your employees?
A consulting company qualification is the qualification of its people, of staff. If you have professional staff in your team that have, real professional, you will be you will do very well. We have established 7 values for our company. And I can mention them because those are really the values that we care and we try to stay with them. One is think beyond, which means, like when you have a project, just out of box and find something that's really um, efficient and good. Go green, that's very important. We really care about environment and sustainability in all aspects of our work and also in our lives. We have to learn every day because working is about learning, and we learn every day and we use the experience to next project. Take ownership. We are passionate about making an impact. So when we work on a project, we own that project, and that sometimes it's like our baby. Celebrate diversity, and that is so important because we really care about the diversity, and we bring the best global talents to constantly deliver outstanding experience, and then do the right thing and also have fun. That are the values of our company. And so we run as I don't know if Anahita can share some of the, like videos and photos, but NTech runs like a family. We always, when we send an email to staff, it's like, dear NTech family. And we have always events that we invite family members. We celebrate if someone is getting married, or like if having a baby, we always like celebrate that. And when there was the pandemic, I think what you see is what happened during the pandemic. It was really, at the beginning, it was a hard time. And what happened was that our line of service was considered, became essential. Everyone was considered essential workers. So we didn't lose even one day going to the site and like doing our jobs. And at the same time, we had, because everyone had to stay home, we managed to arrange everyone to be connected. We had Christmas party, virtual Christmas party. We had, we did everything to keep people together and go through the hardship of COVID time. And I'm really proud of what we did during that time. But in general, we are really care about diversity. We care about families. We, like everyone's problem is our problem, and that's how we operate, and that's the mix of our makeup of our team.
Those are great values to have. And, moving away from the present for a moment, where do you see the industry headed in the coming years?
I love to talk about this question. So I believe the engineering is an amazing, amazing industry. Look around yourself and touch something that's not breathing. That has a fingerprint of an engineer. We build everything, we design everything, we, like, so everything that exists is coming from some engineers. Actually, engineers are building the future, and the future is really exciting. There will be, at the way that the engineering goes, is like it's going to be taller building, it's going to be larger ships, larger airplanes, and like new way of commuting, new way of like communication networks. Everything is just going to be it's just moving, and that is because of the technology. So like I like the name of this, like it's emphasized on technology. More and more technology is helping engineers to deliver much much more complex projects, deliver it much more efficient, qualities are higher, and just it's the word of engineers are really matter in this world. One thing about engineers is that you always will have a job. There is great job security for engineers. The other thing is that you will never be super rich by working as an engineer, but you're always going to have a job, and you're going can meet the ends and all these things. So if you're enjoying creating and making a difference, you will enjoy being an engineer. you have to be ready to always learn new things all the time and more apply technology to your projects. Okay. At the same time, this is our opportunity as engineers to concentrate and focus more on green energy, renewable energy, sustainability, and many things that matters for our planet and for our environment. So I encourage everyone to consider having more technology in your project, and also this environmental, consider that environmental, because we are really creating a lot of waste, and that cannot is not sustainable. We have to change maybe some of ways that we live our lives. So
Yes.
the future is bright and exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely, not sustainable, as you said. So, we visited the future and what you see for the industry, but let's now step back into the past. What made you decide to start your own engineering firm?
um, okay. Sometimes things happen, and after they happen you realize that it was a good thing that happened. So I was, and in fact, a few things happened simultaneously. I used to work for City of New York, and we had some consultant who we worked together, and they always encouraged me. I think maybe they saw something me, because I I really care about delivering quality and like taking it seriously. So maybe they saw something, and they constantly encouraging me, why don't you start your company, why don't you start your company? And that time I really knew nothing about how to start a company. And then they introduced me to a friend of them who had started his company a few years back, and he was doing well. So this person helped me a lot, and explained to me everything that's needed to start a company, and actually made it very much easier with his help. Um, at the same time, there was another thing that I could consider, because I said most of the project that we work with is funded by government, and for project that's funded by government, there's also a percentage of the funding that has to be assigned to companies that are owned by a women or by a minority, person. And I was able to get my certification as WBE, which stands for Women Owned Business Enterprise, in 1 year. And after that, it was really that would help. It helped me. And then you go to larger companies and ask them to include you in their projects, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, because at the beginning they have to trust someone that that person can deliver. And but when you stay and go, continue, at one point they trust you, they give you a small assignment, and then they do more, and then you are in business. So that's how um, this happened, and I started my own company.
So, the journey of starting a company and then maintaining it, it's not an easy one. What do you think were your strengths that made you successful along the way?
Mm, so honestly, one thing that I want to mention um, for young people who want to start their company, one of the most important thing is to have the support of your family. Honestly, I was not able to do anything if I didn't have the support of my husband. And another thing that I want to say, before you start your company, you really have to decide what kind of family you want to have, because a day of work, it's fun, it's good, but sometimes it's tough. And you want to go back home and hug someone and share a laugh with someone, and and that's really how you get back your energy and you can go back to work next day. I think I am a very much family oriented person, and having my family and having the support that my family gave me was a very important thing for me to focus on that. That let me focus more on my work, and that helped me. But in general, it's the other thing is that starting a company, it's a fun thing to start, but then there's up and down. You have to be ready and you have to be strong when there is down, and there are a lot of time that you feel helpless. And but the fact is that it happened. You have to do your best, and it's going to go some way. So, and also celebrate the good moment. That's important. It's because it's up and down, and when it's up, you have to celebrate. When it's down, something is happening, and you do your best, and then like you're ready for the upward uh, time.
Definitely, yeah, it's important to celebrate, the wins as well. So, in terms of your journey, what do you think were some of the most pivotal moments that you experienced along the way up until the point, you're at now?
Um, when you have your first when you start, normally you don't have, maybe you have, but sometimes you don't have a contract. So getting your contract is really an amazing moment. It's the first step, and all journeys start with the first step. So you are starting the journey of having your company. So that's a really nice and happy moment. So you have that contract, you start working on the contract, and then at one point you have to hire one person. And that's another very happy moment. And it's just like one more step toward becoming an owner of a company. So you keep on working, and then you have more people, and then you move out of your out of your home. That's, oh my God, that's that's fun. Then you have your own office. And so these are really the steps. And then you keep on doing more. And like maybe you go to larger office, maybe you hire more people, you get more project, and that's the journey. But those first contract, first employee, first office, that's something that you always remember, and that's a good things for this journey.
Definitely. So, part of every journey, whether we like it or not, includes challenges. And what were some of the challenges you encountered along the way?
There are so many of them that I can't even mention. It's there's always challenges because when you are one person, you control everything. You control the quality of your work, you control everything, relationship with the client. But then when you hire people, you have to be able to trust that they manage the same way that you manage, and like the same qualification, the same approach to client management and all this thing. So I think one of the challenge is to um, hire people who are thinking like yourself. And so you don't have, like, and people who share the same values that you have. And that would be very helpful. And definitely that's a challenge because um, you have limited, not everyone is the same way. So that is the challenge, and it's a good challenge because once you have those people, you are really on your way to more success and doing much better.
Yeah, and on the topic of challenges, currently engineering is still a pretty male dominated industry. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with that?
It is a male dominated industry, and I have been in events and meetings that maybe me and one more, or maybe just myself, and then everyone else is male. But after a while, you just so used to that you don't see yourself as a female being in the male industry. But it is we really encourage ladies, females, to take on responsibility that traditionally was assigned to male engineers. I don't know if Anahita can share that photo with our all female construction management team. So construction, especially, so engineering starts with design and ends in construction. Um, at that end, there's more domination for male than, like in design end. And we had this project, and we put together a team that's the all female team that you can see, and everyone was a female, and that they did a great job. Actually, today I was on ribbon cutting of that ribbon cutting ceremony for the same project, and there was a lot of nice and fun things were said about a female team. So one of them was that, like, everyone was, no wonder it came under budget and on time, because the females were in charge. So it is, but it is really something that we have to encourage. And I do always my part. I really encourage females to take responsibility and move to the positions that traditionally male are doing, male are in charge of. And we all have to share that. There's when we believe in equal opportunity for male and female, and that is really, we have to do our job and not be scared of taking responsibilities. It's easy. I mean, it's nothing that we cannot do.
So, some people in our audience today might be considering starting their own company, be it an engineering firm or a different type of company. What advice do you have for them?
Um, what advice I have for them is that they have to, when you are a large company, you do everything. When you are like smaller companies, you have to have some kind of specialty and some kind of niche market. And that is what makes the larger firm to come to you for that specific um, area, that specific service. So it would be very helpful if you the younger people, like younger engineer, to start working as, like as an employee, and learn about their passion and something that they are interested in, maybe 2 3 years before, at least before they start their company. And once they know what their passion is and what they can do really good, that is a good time to start a company and provide that service. And that is because it's a niche service and they're doing it very well, they're going to have a lot of requests for that. And that's a good start for someone that's young and, like, wants to start the company.
So some people in the audience here work full-time jobs. Do you recommend that they keep their day jobs while they start their company on the side? Or, if they're able to quit their job, do that and then, start their company?
Um, this is okay. Sometimes I know that if you work for a company, they ask you not to compete with the same company. So if you're working and then you starting your own company, it's kind of conflict of interest, because you providing some services that your employer is providing it also. However, I think if that's the case for someone, they should talk to their employer and find out if that is something that they can do. I really advise not to do it like without letting the employer know, because that's, it could even be like a legal thing. So um, they may say, yes, you can do your company, you can start your company while you're working for us, or they may say no. The best way is if they say yes, so it makes it really easy, because then you can start your company, and at the beginning you are not very busy, so you can have your day job and also have spent some time to growing your company. But if not, then you really have to quit, and the hardship of not having the income for a while, because normally you have to pay people or you have to do the work, and then it takes a while for you to prepare an invoice, submit, and get paid. So there is a gap in this time, and that is a time that you may feel some financial pressure, but it's okay.
Right. So if self-funding or, family funding isn't an option, what avenues do you recommend people look into in terms of fundraising?
I think the best option is to have a very rich dad and just ask some for some money. That's the best option. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes not. But normally, when you start a company, you don't really have a lot of expenses. You just don't have an income. And if you can, and I honestly, I don't think that investors are going to, just because you want to start a company, they're going to give you some money. If they do, that's wonderful. But you don't have any expenses. You start working. You don't have any income for a short period of time. You can manage it maybe with your savings, and then when you start getting paid, that almost is resolved. But honestly, we had to put our house for get line of credit from the bank, and that was scary because that was the only house that we had. And but it was okay. We got line of credit. We went through that hard time that there was a gap in getting paid, and then you're okay.
So in terms of, external resources that people turn to when they're starting on this path, what about mentorship? And what do you recommend in terms of mentorship and networking to people?
Um, when you have your own company, you really have to have a very strong network, and you want everyone to like you and no one to dislike you. So it's very important the relationship that you create with your people, with people who work for you, with people who you work for, with your client, with larger companies, with people who have more experience. And I really think the association like this one and so many others are very helpful for younger people to meet people that have more experience and learn from them. So I encourage the young people to always, try to be a part of the, like decision makers in this association, and do as much as they can, because the relationship also that you create through this association is really valuable. They get to know you, and they can trust you, and then you can, like you need a network to get projects and to get assignment, and that's very important.
Absolutely. So, networking is a way to get your company's name out there. But what about other ways to market your?
Um, Other ways to market you, we normally receive, like there are some, like events that is as the main reason that they are is that for people to come in and learn about each other. Everyone, we all need each other. So like we have to present ourselves in these events. We can create like brochures and emails and like marketing material to introduce our services and reach out to people that we think may need that one. So it's a lot of ways that marketing and also branding and reaching out to identifying potential clients. And there's a lot of things that the marketing can help with, expanding your network and also expanding your client list. And that's important. That's very important. And it's funny because when you start a company, you have to do everything yourself. You're just one person. You have to do the project. You have to get the project. You have to reach out, because that's not the only one that you want. You have to plan for the next project that you want to get. So many things. You have to manage the financial. You have to everything. You have to do everything, and that is like a big challenge for startup. But then as you grow, you hire people that can help with marketing, branding, invoicing, financial, everything, and it becomes easier.
Very true. So I have one more question before we get to the audience questions. So if you'd like to start typing out your questions now in the comments box, please do so, and I'll start reviewing them and asking them on behalf of you. But my final question before all of that is there a particular book, movie, or podcast you recommend people read or like look into?
There are many books and like podcasts and everything about how to how to how to be like run an organization, and they are all very helpful. you know One thing that it was important, if many years ago, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago or something, there was a book that says, that was, the title was Seven Habits of Successful People. And that is really, I think you have to have, integrity, and those seven habits, no matter what you do, is going to make you successful. And I think that's like the basic and first step for you to define yourself as what you are and what you can do. And, like that's important. And then definitely all these books, Good to Excellent or Execution, or there's so many of them that are so helpful. And these books are written with people that have a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and they have done the journey, and they're writing about the experiences that they had. So those are very helpful, and I think we should spend some of our time reading these books.
Absolutely. So again, if you have any questions you would like to ask Sue, please put them in the comments box. I did have, a few people email me some questions beforehand. And I'm gonna, look through my email and read a few of those. So one of them was, what are some relevant subjects you studied that set you up for success?
Yes, can you repeat, please?
Of course. What were some relevant subjects you studied that set you up for success?
Do you mean like a technical thing, or do you mean
Or like classes you took, on the side, or even like some of your university courses?
I can think about um, well, definitely whatever you learn when you are at college, that's going to be helpful. But those are like the basic things. When you leave the college and when you enter the world of work, there are there are different things that you have to learn. And I cannot really point out at something specific, but you know things that how to create relationship, how to maintain it, how to, a lot of things that helps. But honestly, I don't know what subject, all of them.
So we have an audience question from Andisha. What are your tips about reaching out to potential customers? How do you make the probability of rejection lower? And she specifically wants to know what challenges you faced when you started your company and how did you overcome those challenges? And specifically when it came to building your brand.
One thing that we have to know, rejection doesn't mean a bad thing. Rejection is going to happen always, because, like, if everyone would say, yes, come on board, then you won't be even able to take all that work that's coming to you. So the challenge is to stay persistent. And I don't mean like a annoying, but stay in communication, identify your client. That's really so important. Because there are some people out there that dying to get your service. You have to know who they are, and you have to target them. That's why I mentioned that you have to have like in a specific niche or a specific service that you are really good at. And once you identify who they are, keep relationship, provide them with service, let them trust you, they always come back. Because there's so many, referral is the main way of getting projects in this industry. People who can trust you, they need you, and they come back to you, because it's so important for them to deliver, and they can trust you to help them deliver the quality that they need to for the projects.
Okay, great. So someone else, emailed me a question, and they asked, earlier you mentioned how it's important to have people on your side who have similar values, but what about people who are able to, challenge you a bit and push back, on your ideas?
Oh, that doesn't mean that, it's two different things. Absolutely challenging, that's great thing, because if it, that's how we grow, that's how we become better people and, smarter. And, so it's not about challenging, it's about values, it's about integrity, it's about being honest, it's about caring about the project, it's about, being in good relationship. So these are two different things, but definitely we want people who come with new ideas and challenge and create that challenge, because it's the challenge that makes people much better people. And that's a important part of every organization. We have to be challenged.
Definitely. So another question that I received via email was, if you had to narrow it down to the 5 most important elements to becoming an entrepreneur, what would you say those 5 things are?
First of all, you really have to understand what you want. That's the most important thing. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to really read about it and understand what it takes. So that's important, because there are going to be surprises and there are going to be challenges. And I'm not talking about pleasant surprises, sometimes, not so pleasant surprises along the way. So you have to be ready for that. It's going to be, that's one thing. The other thing is that be strong when there's down, and it happens, you know. Um, so that's also another thing. And then always you have to think about the next, and how you can be better and how you can improve your quality. And I mean the quality of the what you deliver, and also create a good name, and keep it, because we work so hard to create relationship and reputation, and sometimes just one small thing one day can destroy the whole 10 years, 5 years, 10 years um, that you try to create the reputation and the relationship, that can ruin that. So it's being strong and being realistic. It's not all fun, but there is a lot of fun also.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for attending today. And that wraps up our audience questions. And we will see everyone in the networking portion. So thank you again for joining. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that you attended this meeting.
Thank you to both of you again for your time, for accepting our invitation. For sure, we learned a lot. And yeah, we will all go to the sessions for our post-event networking session. And then we can continue our conversation and have a conversation with both Sue and Tina. So see you soon. Thank you.